In the far reaches of space, the dark and vast universe held many secrets. Among these was the powerful alien empire known as the Zyrans. They had conquered many worlds and believed they were invincible. But recently they heard strange rumors about a small blue planet called Earth. These rumors spoke of warships unlike anything the Zyrans had seen before. Commander Vrax, a high-ranking officer in the Zyrans, listened carefully as his advisors reported the news. These humans are said to have awakened ancient ships from their past, one advisor explained, his voice shaking. They claim these ships are not just machines. They have lives of their own. Vrax smirked. Humans are weak. Their technology cannot compare to ours. But let us investigate. We will crush them before they become a real threat. Meanwhile, on Earth, scientists were hard at work in a hidden facility deep underground. They had uncovered ancient technology and started to revive warships that had been dormant for centuries. These ships were powerful, equipped with advanced weaponry and artificial intelligence that made them almost alive. Dr. Sarah Lynn, a brilliant scientist, led the team. She was determined to prepare humanity for any danger. We cannot ignore the threat from space, she told her team. If the Zyrans come, we must be ready. These warships will protect our planet. As the team worked, they felt excitement and fear. The warships, once legends of the past, began to hum with life. Each ship had a unique personality shaped by the history of its time. Some were fierce and ready for battle, while others were cautious and wise. They were all eager to serve and defend Earth. Days passed, and the Zyrans prepared their fleet for departure. Vrax gathered his best officers in the war room. We will send a small fleet to Earth to gather intelligence. If these rumors are true, we must act quickly before the humans can organize a defense. The Zyrans launched their ships, sleek and menacing, cutting through the darkness of space. As they approached the moon, Vrax's excitement grew. He believed this would be an easy mission, a quick strike against a weak enemy. But he was unaware of the storm brewing on Earth. Back on the blue planet, the warships were ready. Dr. Lynn and her team watched the sky with hope and dread. We can't let them catch us off guard, she said. We need to be prepared for anything. The warships awaited their command, engines humming and weapons charged. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. The monitors flickered, revealing images of the alien fleet heading toward the moon. They're here, shouted one of the scientists. What do we do? Dr. Lynn took a deep breath. We must act now. Launch the warships! We have to show them that humanity is not as weak as they think. The scientists rushed to their stations, quickly inputting commands. The warships rose from their hangars, gleaming under the lights. They were a mix of old and new, powerful and majestic. As they ascended into the sky, the crew inside felt a surge of determination. In space, the Zyrans were unaware of the chaos brewing below. Vrax's fleet approached the moon, confident and eager for victory. Prepare for a quick scan of the area, he commanded. We'll take out any defenses they have before they even know we're here. But as the Zyrans began their scan, the human warships emerged from behind the moon, ready for battle. The humans had transformed their fears into strength. They would not go down without a fight. The stage was set. The Zyrans would soon learn that humans, though small and seemingly weak, could unleash a force of unimaginable power. As the warships soared into the void, the fate of Earth hung in the balance, and the universe would witness the awakening of a new threat. As the Zyrans moved closer to Earth, confidence filled their ships. Commander Vrax believed this mission would be a breeze. Prepare for the attack, he ordered, a smug grin on his face. These humans will never know what hit them. On the surface of the moon, a small human outpost buzzed with activity. Dr. Sarah Lynn and her team were monitoring the Zyrans' approach, their faces tense with worry. They're getting closer, one of the scientists said, eyes glued to the screens. We need to act fast. Sarah nodded, determination in her eyes. Launch the warships! We can't let them take us by surprise. The warships, now fully operational, surged from their hidden hangars. They were beautiful and deadly, each ship reflecting the light of the distant sun. As they took off, the crew felt a mix of fear and excitement. They were ready to fight for their home. Back in space, the Zyrans began their attack. The first wave of missiles shot toward the moon, leaving bright trails in their wake. Destroy the outpost! Vrax shouted, his voice booming with confidence. The Zyrans expected an easy victory, but they were in for a shocking surprise. As the missiles raced toward the moon, the human warships flew into action. They had been waiting for this moment. "Engage defensive systems!" shouted Captain Daniels, the leader of one of the warships. The ships moved swiftly, their engines roaring. Energy shields activated, shimmering like glass. The first missile struck the energy shield but failed to break through. The humans watched in awe as the missile exploded harmlessly against the protective barrier. "They're strong!" one crew member exclaimed. "Keep firing!" The human warships began to return fire, their weapons glowing with energy. Laser blasts shot through space, targeting the Xyrons with precision. The aliens were caught off guard. "What is happening?" Vrax shouted, disbelief creeping into his voice. As the laser fire struck the Xyrons' ships, explosions lit up the darkness of space. The once confident alien fleet began to falter. "Fall back!" Vrax ordered, panic rising in his chest. But it was too late. The humans had unleashed their full power. One by one, Xyrons' ships were destroyed, their wreckage floating through space. The human warships moved like dancers, graceful and deadly. They executed perfect maneuvers, dodging incoming fire and striking back with deadly accuracy. The crew cheered as they took down another alien ship. "This is incredible," exclaimed a young pilot, his heart racing with excitement. "We can win this!" But the Xyrons were not ready to give up. Vrax gritted his teeth and called for reinforcements. "Send in the second wave," he commanded, determined to regain control. The remaining Xyrons, now filled with fear, braced themselves for another attack. More alien ships joined the battle, but the tide had already turned. The human warships, fueled by adrenaline and unity, pushed forward. Sarah watched the battle unfold from her command center, heart pounding. "Keep it up! We can't let them escape!" With each passing moment, the humans felt more powerful. They had transformed from a planet of civilians into a force to be reckoned with. The Xyrons had underestimated them, and now they were paying the price. Vrax realized too late that humans were not weak. As he watched his fleet crumble before him, anger and fear mingled inside him. "They should have been easy prey," he roared. "Retreat! We need to regroup!" The order to retreat sent shockwaves through the alien ranks. Many Xyrons were terrified and fled into the depths of space. The humans had struck a blow that would not be forgotten. As the battle drew to a close, cheers erupted among the crew of the human warships. They had faced the might of the Xyrons and come out victorious. The thrill of victory was sweet, but they knew the fight was not over. Dr. Lin smiled as she watched the screens. "We did it! But we must stay alert. This is only the beginning." The humans celebrated their success, but they also understood the truth. The Xyrons would come back, and they had to be ready. They had awakened a sleeping giant, and the war had just begun. The victory against the Xyrons filled humanity with hope, but the tension in the air was thick. Dr. Sarah Lynn stood in the command center, staring at the large screens that displayed images of the night sky. Though they had won the battle, she knew the Xyrons would not take this defeat lightly. Days passed, and the news of the humans' surprising strength spread quickly throughout the galaxy. The Xyrons were furious. Commander Vrax returned to their home planet, his pride shattered. In the war room, he slammed his fist on the table, causing everyone to jump. "Those humans will pay for their insolence," he shouted. "We underestimated them, and now we must make amends." His advisors exchanged worried glances. "Commander, we have already lost many ships. Perhaps we should rethink our strategy," one suggested cautiously. Vrax's eyes burned with anger. "No! We will not back down. We will gather our forces and crush them. Prepare the fleet for war." Back on Earth, the mood was different. Dr. Lin gathered her team in the command center. "We have to stay prepared. The Xyrons will come back, and we must be ready," she said firmly. "We've awakened our warships, and now we need to train them and ourselves for what's coming." The scientists nodded, understanding the weight of her words. They had witnessed the destruction that the alien ships could cause. The humans worked tirelessly to strengthen their defenses, upgrade their technology, and improve their tactics. Each day brought new challenges, but they were determined to stand firm. Meanwhile, the Xyrons were not idle. They rallied their remaining ships, calling in reinforcements from distant worlds. "We will assemble the largest fleet this galaxy has ever seen," Vrax declared to his commanders. "No human will survive our wrath." As the Xyrons prepared for war, they also spread fear among their allies. The message was clear. Humans were a threat that must be eliminated. Many planets, once neutral, now felt pressured to take sides. Some even agreed to help the Xyrons, thinking it would keep them safe. Back on Earth, the situation was tense. Citizens had heard about the Xyrans' plans and were frightened. Families gathered in their homes, fearing the return of the alien fleet. But Sarah and her team were focused. "We need to show the people that we can defend ourselves," she urged. To lift spirits, Sarah organized a public demonstration of the warships. Thousands gathered at the spaceport to witness the power of their technology. The warships soared into the sky, their engines roaring. As they performed incredible maneuvers, cheers erupted from the crowd. People felt a sense of pride and hope. The warships were not just machines, they were symbols of humanity's resilience. "Look at what we have built," Sarah shouted to the crowd. "We will not let fear control us. We will fight for our planet!" As the demonstration ended, the crowd cheered, their spirits lifted. But Sarah knew the battle was far from over. Late that night, as she sat alone in her office, she stared out into space. The stars twinkled, but the darkness of the unknown loomed ahead. Back in the Xyrans' war room, Vrax had gathered his top commanders. "We will launch a surprise attack on Earth before they can prepare any further," he announced. "They will never see it coming." The commanders nodded, their faces filled with determination. The Xyrans set a date for the attack, planning to catch humanity off guard. They would strike at dawn when the humans would be least prepared. In the days leading up to the attack, both sides felt the weight of the coming storm. Earth was in a frenzy of preparation, while the Xyrans lurked in the shadows, ready to pounce. As dawn approached, both the humans and Xyrans held their breaths. Sarah gathered her team one last time. "This is it. We have trained hard and we are ready. No matter what happens, we fight for our home." The team exchanged determined glances. They were ready to face whatever the Xyrans had planned. The storm was gathering, and soon it would unleash its fury on both sides. With the fate of Earth hanging in the balance, the stage was set for a confrontation that would change the galaxy forever. As dawn broke over Earth, a heavy silence filled the air. Dr. Sarah Lynn gathered her team in the command center, their faces lit by the glow of the screens. "The Xyrans will attack soon," she said, her voice steady but filled with urgency. "We must come up with a plan to surprise them first." The team nodded, knowing that the fate of their world depended on their next move. "What if we lure them into a trap?" suggested Captain Daniels, his eyes bright with ideas. "We could make them think we are weak and then strike when they least expect it." Sarah considered this. "That could work, but we need to ensure our forces are hidden. We can't let them know how strong we are." The team began to brainstorm. They discussed tactics, looking for every possible advantage. "We can set up decoys," one scientist proposed. "We can make it look like we are concentrating our defenses in one area, drawing the Xyrans there. Meanwhile, we can position our best warships in a different location," Captain Daniels added. "When the Xyrans come, we'll hit them from behind." The plan began to take shape. They would create false signals, drawing the Xyrans into a trap while the real force prepared for a surprise attack. Sarah felt a surge of hope. "This is risky, but it might just work," she said, her heart racing. The team worked tirelessly, setting up the decoys and making adjustments to their warships. As the hours passed, excitement and anxiety filled the command center. The plan was daring, but it was their best chance to turn the tide of the war. Meanwhile, the Xyrans were readying their fleet for the assault. Commander Vrax paced back and forth in the war room, confidence bubbling beneath the surface. "We will destroy them today," he declared. "Prepare the ships for launch. We will strike at dawn." His commanders nodded, their faces stern. They had seen their fleet suffer losses before, and the idea of facing the humans again filled them with determination. "We will not fail this time," one of them assured Vrax. "They will regret underestimating us." As the Xyrans prepared for battle, the humans were doing the same. Sarah stood on the command deck, overseeing the final adjustments. "Get everyone ready," she ordered. "Once we launch, there's no turning back." With the sun rising higher, both fleets were on the move. The Xyrans flew through space, eager for revenge, while the humans quietly waited in their hidden positions. The tension was palpable. Just before the Xyrans arrived, Sarah took a deep breath and addressed her team. "Remember, we fight for our planet, our families, and each other. Trust the plan." "We can do this!" The crew cheered, their spirits lifted by her words. They felt a sense of unity and strength that had grown throughout their training. As the Xyrans approached the decoy area, their ships glimmered in the light of the sun. Vrax smiled, thinking victory was near. "Prepare to fire," he commanded, unaware that he was walking into a trap. The human warships remained hidden, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. They watched as the Xyrans began to focus on the decoys, their weapons ready to fire at what they thought was the main human force. Then, with a sudden signal from Sarah, the real attack began. "Now!" she shouted. The hidden warships surged forward, their weapons blazing. Laser beams cut through space, targeting the Xyrans with deadly precision. Caught off guard, the Xyrans scrambled to respond. "What is happening? They were supposed to be weak!" Vrax shouted in disbelief. His ships were suddenly under heavy fire from multiple angles. Panic spread through the Xyrans' ranks as they realized they had fallen into the humans' trap. The battle erupted into chaos. The humans fought with fierce determination, their strategy catching the Xyrans off balance. "We can win this!" shouted Captain Daniels as he led his crew into the fray. As explosions lit up the void, the tide of battle began to turn. The humans pushed forward, and the Xyrans found themselves fighting for their lives. Victory was within reach, but the fight was far from over. Sarah watched the battle unfold on the screens, heart racing with adrenaline. They had executed their daring plan, but she knew the Xyrans would not back down easily. The real fight had just begun. The final battle was upon them. As the sun set behind Earth, it cast a warm glow on the warships gathered for what could be their last stand. Dr. Sarah Lynn stood at the command center, her heart pounding in her chest. She looked at her team, their faces filled with determination. "This is it. We fight for our planet and our future," she said, her voice strong. The humans had caught the Xyrans off guard, but they knew that the enemy would fight back fiercely. Commander Vrax, humiliated and enraged, was rallying his troops. "We will not lose to these puny humans. Prepare for a full-scale assault," he yelled. The Xyrans regrouped, their ships moving with renewed purpose. Sarah turned to her team. "We've surprised them, but we cannot let our guard down. We need to strike hard and fast. Let's show them what humanity is made of." The team cheered, their spirits high as they launched their warships into the fray. The space around them became a battleground, filled with explosions and blinding lights. Laser beams whizzed past, and the sounds of battle echoed through the command center. As the humans advanced, they worked together, covering each other and coordinating their attacks. Captain Daniels led his squadron into the thick of the fight, dodging enemy fire with skill. "Stay focused! Target their engines!" he shouted, knowing that disabling the Xyrans' ships was key to victory. Meanwhile, Vrax watched the chaos unfold from his flagship. "They are more skilled than we thought," he barked, gritting his teeth. "Regroup and focus your firepower. Show them the might of the Xyrons." The battle intensified. Ships from both sides exploded in the dark void of space, illuminating the scene like fireworks. Sarah monitored the situation from the command center, her heart racing as she witnessed her team's bravery. "We can win this," she shouted to her crew, who were working frantically at their stations. The Xyrans tried to push back, but the humans had the element of surprise. They launched a series of attacks that crippled the Xyrans' formations. One by one, enemy ships fell under the relentless assault. "Keep pushing! Don't give them a chance to regroup," Sarah urged, her voice steady. As the battle raged on, both sides suffered losses. The humans fought bravely, but the Xyrans were relentless. Vrax ordered a desperate maneuver. "All ships, prepare for a concentrated strike. We will break their lines." Suddenly, the Xyrans launched a massive wave of firepower toward the humans. The humans braced themselves, and the command center shook from the force of the blasts. "Evasive maneuvers," Sarah ordered, gripping the control panel tightly. The human ships swerved and dodged, narrowly escaping the deadly barrage. "They're not giving up," Daniels shouted, determination shining in his eyes. "We have to hit them hard now." With the Xyrans distracted, Sarah saw her chance. "All ships focus on Vrax's flagship. That's where we can deal the biggest blow," she commanded. The human fleet rallied together, their eyes set on the enemy leader's ship. They launched everything they had at the flagship. Laser beams and missiles raced through space, striking true. Vrax watched in horror as his flagship took hit after hit.
"No!
"This cannot be happening," he screamed, but it was too late. The flagship shuddered violently, its systems failing. With one final explosion, it was destroyed, sending debris scattering across the battlefield. Seeing their leader fall, the remaining Xyrans began to panic. "Retreat! Fall back!" they cried, but it was too late. The humans seized the moment, pressing their advantage. With a final push, the human fleet surged forward, overwhelming the remaining Xyrans. The battle that had begun with fear and uncertainty now turned into a triumph for humanity. One by one, Xiron's ships surrendered or were destroyed, and the battlefield fell silent. As the last enemy ship was defeated, a cheer erupted from the humans. Sarah felt tears of relief and joy fill her eyes. "We did it! We fought for our home and we won!" she exclaimed, hugging her teammates. The humans had shown that they were not just survivors, they were warriors. They had faced a powerful enemy and emerged victorious. With the Xyrons defeated, peace had a chance to return to the galaxy. As the crew celebrated, Sarah looked out into the stars. They had fought for their future, and now they could begin to rebuild. The war was over, but their journey was just beginning.